Hey, good evening, everybody, or wherever you may be around the globe. Hope you had a good holiday weekend. It's looking like the Knicks are done. It's looking like the Timberwolves are done, even though you need 4 wins. But Oklahoma City and Indiana look like they are on a collision course for the NBA Finals. The Pacers tonight do hold on to their lead, 130 to 121. It was a monster game for former Sacramento King Tyrese Halliburton. He was absolutely magnificent in this game. Triple double. He did it all. And, not only 32 points, but 15 assists, 12 rebounds, and no turnovers. No turnovers. Pretty amazing. The fact that the Pacers scored 130 was a completely different game than we saw in game 3, which was a low-scoring game in which the Knicks came from behind to win. No such comeback tonight. And I got to believe the Pacers are going to close this out in a building that they are very comfortable in, Madison Square Garden, in game 5. But the Knicks got their hands full. I can't see the Pacers playing this well, losing 3 games in a row. That I can't see. Can't see that. All right, I want to spend a moment and talk about an absolute legend, an iconic figure that we lost over the weekend in Sacramento, Stan Atkinson. When I moved to Sacramento in July of 1987, I worked for Channel 31, and our newsroom was in a trailer. We had 4 anchors, me, the weather person, 2 anchors. We had 1.5 photographers. We had a full-time photographer and a part-time. We were on a bare bones budget. And I remember the first time I turned on KCRA and saw Stan Atkinson, Margaret Pelly, and the KCR News. I mean, KCRA News was like network news in Sacramento. And I don't know when it was when I first met Stan Atkinson, but I remember after meeting Stan, I felt like I had a friend for life. And whenever I would see Stan Atkinson, we always would have a very warm, pleasant conversation. He was a great man. He was supremely talented. But when it came to news in Sacramento, like you didn't even think twice. KCRA, where the news comes first. And Stan Atkinson had everything to do with that. He was a network quality newsman working in a local market, but he was a network quality person. He had time for everyone. When you met Stan Atkinson, you felt like, wow. And that's how he made everyone feel. Wow. What a career. What a man. What an absolutely incredible organization. I remember on my radio show, sometimes KCRA would preempt a sporting event to cover a breaking news story. And I remember I would have people call me up and complain, and I would like, excuse me, what's their slogan? KCRA, where the news comes first. Hello? What do you think they're going to do? Say where the news comes first and then not cover a breaking story? No. KCRA, where the news comes first, where Stan Atkinson came first. They had an amazing budget, satellite trucks, helicopters. I'll never forget working at Channel 31 and watching KCRA News, and I got to know so many of the people that worked at KCRA. Walt Gray became one of my best friends in Sacramento. Bob Hogue, Creighton Sanders, then Walt Gray. They had just an incredible lineup of meteorologists. But it was Stan Atkinson. Stan was the man. 92 years on this earth. He left us this past weekend. Hats off to a man that not only did I admire from a fan's perspective and watching the news and how smooth he was. Stan Atkinson was smooth as silk. Smooth. I don't ever recall Stan making a mistake on the air. Smooth. But as a friend, top shelf. Rest in peace, my friend. What a man he was, Stan Atkinson. All right, let's get back to sports. And the Pacers, the Thunder, assuming that's where it's going to happen, and I can't imagine that we're going to have any other different combination. What type of finals do you think that will be? The fact that the Thunder have shown some vulnerabilities throughout the playoffs, particularly on the road, and the fact that the Pacers have been so good on the road, I think this is going to be a long series if it is indeed those two teams. I really do. I think it would be a long series, fun series. So if you want to get on board and talk to me about that, I would love to have you on. You got the QR code above me. You got the link to call the show. We'll put it up on the chat line as well. So happy to have you here. And again, so happy that we're able to reminisce about a great man and Stan Atkinson. There it is right there, the link. Call me with your questions, your takes. And we'd love to have you on. Would love to have you on. I got asked this earlier today. So I'm going to ask you. And I'll give you my answer first. And Ryan was on with me a couple of days ago, and we were talking about this. And Ryan's contention is that if the Kings had kept Tyrese Haliburton, that he wouldn't have been this type of a player because the Kings have shown an inability to build teams. And I said this before I talked with Ryan. Tyrese to me is more of a special player than he is of a special talent. Like when I watch Tyrese Haliburton play, he doesn't take my breath away. He doesn't. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander takes my breath away. Tyrese doesn't. But I look at the numbers after all these games, and Haliburton is just a special player. So after watching the playoffs the last 2 years and not knowing what's going to happen for the rest of these playoffs, I answered the question this way. If I could go back in time and make that trade, would have I made it? And the answer is no. I would not have made it if I could go back and do it all over again. I would have kept Haliburton, and I would have built my entire team around him. I would have traded everybody for all intents and purposes, and I would have kept Haliburton, and I would have built my entire franchise around this special player. So that's the way I'm going to answer the question, because I believe that Haliburton is a franchise player. The Kings don't have a franchise player. Yes, they have Sabonis, but because of the position he plays, I'm not so sure you can build a team around him. You could build a team, and the Indiana Pacers have built a team around Tyrese Haliburton. So that's the way I would answer that question. Agree or disagree? What do you think about that? And yes, he does fit in well with Rick Carlisle and everything he does. Rick Carlisle is a great coach. He's a great coach. And Haliburton has benefited from being around a great coach. But you cannot build a franchise around Domantas Sabonis, in my opinion. You can build a franchise around the Indiana Pacers, around Haliburton, and that's what the Pacers have done. They've built a franchise around Haliburton. Make no mistake about it. He is their kingpin. He's the guy. And they're building around him. And they have. And they're one win away from the NBA final. I didn't say that Sabonis is not a special talent. I just said I don't think you can build a team around him. There's a big difference. That's a big difference. All right? That's a big difference. I didn't say he wasn't special talent. I said I don't think you can build a franchise around him. So it's not like that was a horrible trade for Sacramento, because it wasn't. But if I could go back and do it over again, I would not. I would not. Getting a lot of comments. Grant, your reaction is hindsight like many of ours. Why did the Kings stick with Fox? Because they felt he was the guy that you could build a franchise around. And they were wrong. Buffoon ownership. Kings will keep letting go of talent. So the Pacers would not trade Sabonis if they don't get Halliburton. That's correct. Very true. I mean, Halliburton was a great pick by the Kings. Great. Fell in the draft. But again, you're talking about a special player, more so than a special talent. He's a winner. He's just got that, whatever it is, he's got it. And when you have a player like that, and you don't have him anymore, and you get a very good player back in return, at the time a two-time All-Star, that's good. But give me Halliburton and build a team around him. As much as I love Sabonis, and I'm a big Sabonis fan, by the way, I think the guy's a tremendous player. I just don't know if you can build a team around him. But you can build a team around Halliburton, because the Pacers have done that. They have done that. You can't really debate that. They have done that. Hey, New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. They're available around the clock 24/7 for your plumbing needs and repairs. Give them a call. You got the website, or newworksplumbing.com, NEWWRXplumbing.com, New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you. Hard to believe we're in the last week of May. Patrick says Tyrese is more alpha, where Sabonis is more complementary. Again, because of the position they play, all right? You know, you're always going to take a quarterback over another position, right? Halliburton's a quarterback. Halliburton's a quarterback. You're always going to take a quarterback. Grant, would have I done the trade for Sabonis if the Kings actually got length and athleticism in 2023 offseason instead of running it back? I love Sabonis. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with Sabonis. All I'm saying is I would not have traded Halliburton, because he's a special player. Have to admit, for experience reasons, I was for keeping Fox. Well, that's another thing. Is there anybody that would take De'Aaron Fox over Tyrese Halliburton right now? Ask yourself that question. I wouldn't. Halliburton's a complete player. Fox is not a complete player. I wouldn't. I mean, Fox is very good, but he's not, in my opinion. I told you this last week. To me, Fox is a special talent. In my opinion, he's not a special player. Hello, Baki. Dobro Jutro to Brother Napes. I'm thinking MSG would eat OKC alive, but it looks like we are not going to get there to see it. You know, I don't know. Oklahoma City, you look at what they did this year, Baki. Hard to go against them. Sabonis can be stopped when the game matters, always shrinks in the big situations. He's only been in one playoff series in Sacramento, so I don't know if that's a sample size big enough to make a comment like that, Dirk. I don't know. I think you need more of a sample size. I think that might be a little too harsh. Triple-double, no turnovers, and a huge game is insane. No doubt. It is. It is. Absolutely. It is. It is insane. I think the thing that disappointed me the most about the game tonight, if you're looking at it from a New York perspective, their defense was nowhere near what we saw in game 3. The Pacers got way too many easy baskets, and that was not the case in game 3. I think the Knicks are done. I don't think they're going to win at home in game 5. I think they're going to be they're out. I don't see it, especially if Karl Anthony Towns is not 100%, and that need did not look good, at the last part of the fourth quarter. We'll see how that ends up on a short rest. I wouldn't feel very confident right now if I'm the Knicks. Premature, but thoughts on OKC versus the Pacer finals. OKC is big and can score. Indy has defense, but offense at times stinks. Here's the advantage I give the Pacers, Rick Carlisle. That's a big advantage, in my opinion. Not a little advantage. I think that's a big advantage. I mean, if I'm going to be objective, the Pacers are not as talented as Oklahoma City, but look at what they've done in the playoffs this year. It's going to be a hell of a series. It's going to be a hell of a series. OKC with home court advantage, which they're good at home. We've seen that. They're not invincible, but they're good. They each got to win one more game, though. You got to hope there were no injuries along the way. Sabonis doesn't have a complimentary big to play with, a point guard, nor 3-point shooters to spread the defense. Well, when he and Fox 2 years ago, they won 48 games together. Was that a fluke? And then last season, they won 46 games. Was that a fluke? And this year, obviously, the team regressed big time. How did they win 48 games that year? By accident? Again, I just don't think you can build a team around Sabonis as good as he is. But the Pacers have proven you can build a team around Halliburton, and Halliburton's their franchise. As good as Pascal Siakam is, and he's great, the team, it's Halliburton's team. In other words, he's not going anywhere. And they will continue to build around him because he's their quarterback. Just like the Oklahoma City build around SGA, and you can go on and on, right? Like, that's the guy you have to have. Paul Pierce says Nuggets to trade Michael Porter Jr. for DeRozan. I'd pick Porter up at the airport to make that deal. Do you know that the Kings were going to draft Michael Porter? That's who the Kings were going to draft instead of Marvin Bagley. They loved Michael Porter, loved him. So did a lot of other teams. And then the back injuries, right? And he fell in the first round to Denver. But the Kings loved him. That's who the Kings were going to take at number 2. That's who they had their eye on. So, I mean, yeah, I would do that. 48 wins was a fluke in 2023. Don't kid yourself. The West was plagued with injuries in 2023. All right, what about 2024 where they only had 2 fewer wins? Was that a fluke too? Fox is entertaining, Jeff says. Liked him and Herter when playing well. Preferred that duo. Patrick says, let's just focus on Game 5 of a Knicks fan. We don't have any other choice, Patrick, because there is no Game 6 scheduled right now. Going to be tough for the Knicks. Home court, they've lost their share of games at Madison Square Garden in the playoffs. That's going to be a tall order. That's going to be a tall order. I think the Pacers are going to go in there and win. I know they didn't make the playoffs, but 46 wins almost every year gets you into the playoffs. Think about what 46 wins would have done for you this year. Think about what 46 wins would have gotten you this year. 46 wins is still, that's a pretty good season. Not great, but pretty good. I mean, you have to look at it that way. Hey, don't forget about Sunrise Landing in Calusa. You go to CalusaSunrise.com, get all the information. Still take advantage of their May spring sale going on right now. A Blazona development project, many models to choose from, 6 in all, no Mellorews, no homeowners. Remember, folks, adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club, good access, I-5, Highway 45, Highway 20. Go to CalusaSunrise.com and get all the information you need on Sunrise Landing in Calusa. You know, it's always interesting to go back in time and say, well, you would have done this, you would have done that. I mean, if that draft were held all over again, Luka would have gone number 1 to Phoenix. No doubt about it. Clearly would have gone number 1 to Phoenix. The Kings still would have taken Marvin Bagley, which would have been a huge mistake. Atlanta still would have taken Trae Young. Memphis, right? Probably still take their pick, but I mean, Luka would have gone number 1. Then it would have been interesting to see who Dallas took at number 5. But I mean, if Luka had gone number 1 in that draft, the Kings would have still taken Marvin Bagley. If the draft were held all over again, obviously the Kings wouldn't be taking Bagley. We know that. Do we all agree that the Kings are going to absolutely suck next season with Doug as head coach? I think it's going to be a disaster next year. I've been on record as saying that. I think it's going to be a disaster. I think it's going to be awful. And here's the other deal. Minnesota and Oklahoma City, head and shoulders above you. Denver's significantly better than you, right? Houston's better than you. Dallas is going to be better than you. That's 5 teams right off the get-go. I still think Memphis is going to be better than you, although we don't know what's going to happen in the offseason. I think San Antonio is going to leapfrog you if Wembanyama is healthy. I think Portland will probably end up better than you. I don't know about the Warriors. I don't know about the Lakers. I don't know about the Clippers. Like, I don't. I don't know about the Pelicans. So, I mean, but yeah, I think the Kings are going to have a real problem just being a play-in team next year. We have to wait and see what moves they make. We don't know what moves they're going to make. They don't have a first-round draft pick. All right? I think, you're going to see I don't see a team on the floor next season for Sacramento that's not significantly different than the team that walked off the floor after their humiliating, embarrassing home loss in a play in the Dallas. You can't. It's not going to work. And I don't know what they're going to be able to do because I think Levine's untradeable. Probably not going to trade Sabonis. That leaves you DeRozan and Keegan Murray as the guys that you can go shopping with. And I don't see the Kings trading Keegan Murray. So then that leads you with, well, what are you going to be able to get for DeMar DeRozan? And where are you going to get your point guard? And who's that going to be? So wait and see, I guess, right? But I don't see how the Kings are going to get significantly better in the Western Conference when I try to forecast what next season may look like. And again, I think Portland is going to be significantly better. San Antonio, if they stay healthy, will be significantly better. Houston's not going anywhere, as I said. Denver's still Denver. By the way, congratulations to David Adelman, who more than deserved the head coaching position with the Denver Nuggets. And again, Oklahoma City and Minnesota, I mean, where are the Kings going to make a move in the West? I will say to build around Keegan and Ellis and find a way to keep LaRavia and hope Carter breaks out. I think it's highly unlikely that Carter's going to break out. I think that his offensive deficiencies, it's not like that's going to get fixed overnight. And his health is a concern. We'll see. But you're right. You all of those things that you said, you would have to hope that he does break out. That's very true. That's very true. But I think offensively, he's going to have some liabilities. But yes, I think that's fair. I think that's, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. All right, again, if you want to get in on the show, we'd love to have you on. Talking about the NBA, the Knicks tonight. No defense. The Pacers exploited them. And now the Indiana Pacers are 1 win away from a trip to the NBA Finals. Hockey tonight. Edmonton, 2 empty net goals to close out Dallas in game number 4. And they're 1 win away from getting back to the Stanley Cup Finals. It looks like we're looking at another Florida-Edmonton Stanley Cup Finals. So we got the hockey to talk about as well. Did you watch the Indy 500? Did you watch the F1 race for Monaco? What did you watch this weekend in addition to the NBA playoffs? Next season, bad record by All-Star break. Doug gets fired. Vivek hires another friend. End the season with a losing record, and us fans cope by saying it's cause of the 2 coaches. Doug's not going to get fired at the All-Star break. Peter says Kings have 9 players under contract and $26 million to spend on 5 players. That includes the team option on Keon Ellis and the 42nd pick in the draft. 2 words: good luck. Good luck. That's really what it boils down to. Good luck. Because I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. I just don't. I'm sorry. I've been on record as saying, I said this before. I said it the week after the season ended. Baki says all the credits to Indiana, but the Knicks are unrecognizable in this Cast final, in this East final. I watched all their games in the regular season. This is not the same team, especially at home. Yeah, at home, I don't know what the problem is, Baki. I'm with you. I don't understand. Listen to Eddie Johnson as an announcer. Surprise went that direction. What do you mean? I don't understand what you mean. Let's say I watched the Stanley Cup playoffs and a couple of episodes of Frasier. All right. Grant, this is genuinely my favorite sports show to watch. I can't stand ESPN anymore. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't ever watch ESPN. My thoughts on LeBron playing yet another season. I think he'll opt in. I think he'll play another season. I think the fact that Bronny is on the team, I think that alone will make him come back for another season. I would be very surprised. Shocked, actually. Not surprised. I would be shocked if he doesn't come back for another season. And that's another team to keep an eye on are the Lakers. And I want to see what kind of condition Luka comes back in the fall. He has to come back in much, much better shape. He looked horrible in the playoffs with his movement defensively. I mean, he looked just awful. And, with all the criticism coming his way about his body and not being in condition, I mean, I would think he'd come back in the best condition of his career. Get the NHL back on NBC. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the contract's pretty solid right now with Turner and ESPN. Yeah, I don't see that happening. I'd be surprised. But I'm with you on that. I totally agree with you. Much better on NBC. And how great was Doc Emmerich, huh? The freaking best. Speaking of the best, Connor with Element Mortgage is that category. Guy's great. He has closed himself hundreds and hundreds of loans. The team behind him has over 100 years of experience. You've got the QR code right there, or you can call him at 916-505-1006. But either way, you'll get the information that you need. Buying a home, whatever the case is, man, he'll make the process so much easier for you. And again, trust and experience. That's what you get with Connor at Element Mortgage. 916-505-1006. Get in touch with Connor at Element Mortgage. Again, it looks like, and again, it's not over yet. You got to win 4. but it looks like it's going to be the Pacers and the Thunder in the NBA Finals. I think, people talk about, well, you're going to have two small markets in the NBA Finals. I think that's great for the NBA. It just shows that if you do things the right way, it can happen. I mean, draft well, trade well. You can do it. Look at Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City has a chance to be a dynasty. They really do. They're set up to be a dynasty. They can be a dynasty. That's how freaking good they're set up. Do I think that Fox will ever be on Halliburton's level? I don't, for this reason. He doesn't shoot the ball well enough for me. And I think if you are a point guard in the NBA and you have limitations with the three, I don't know what type of level you can get to. But then I go back 2 seasons ago, and I remember how dynamic Fox was in the playoffs against Golden State until he broke his finger. And I saw a guy that was on his way to superstardom. And then I didn't really see it anymore. And I don't know what happened to that De'Aaron Fox that I watched in the playoffs that year. No excuses now. No excuses. You can't say you don't have this or you don't have that around him. He's got a lot of talent and a high draft pick, 2 lottery picks, along with Wembanyama and Castle and everything else they have. No excuses. No excuses. And I also want to know what happens to Fox when he loses a half a step, as that will eventually happen sooner rather than later. Then what does he fall back to? What does he fall back on? I mean, if he can't shoot well from distance. Peter, I appreciate the question about trades, about what I would do and what I don't. I don't like talking about rumors and what I would do and what I wouldn't do. I know what the Kings need. And to me, you better go out and get yourself a legitimate point guard. I wouldn't want D'Angelo Russell anywhere near my team. Absolutely not. There's nothing that he has done over the length of his career that would make me say, oh, I got to have him as my guy. No. Too many red flags, too much inconsistency. The fact that he's been moved so often is a major red flag for me. So no, I would not. Well, as far as the second round pick goes, if you're hoping that the second round pick is going to have an impact on your team, then you're really not dealing with reality. All right? That's just not going to happen in all likelihood. And if it were to happen, it wouldn't be for a couple of years in all likelihood if you just base that on history. So I don't see it. I think you need to be careful. The only way that the Kings are going to fix their team is by trades. And again, the question is, who are they going to use in a trade? What are they going to do? Right? What are they going to do? Who are they going to get? We know what they need, but the point guards that are really good in the league are hard to come by. What are you going to use to go out and get that guy? Who's it going to be? Right? You can't go to war next year with Keon Ellis and Devin Carter. You've got to fix that position. You don't know about Carter. You know about Ellis, but you don't know about Carter yet. You can't expect him to be the guy. You can expect him to be a role player. You can expect him to help out the team. I mean, we saw glimpses of how good he can be in the NBA, but he's got to get the offensive game going. He's got to fix that. If he does, then he can have a larger role on this team. No doubt. No doubt about it. But offensively, he's got a ways to go. All right, again, if you want to get on before I wrap up the show, do so. If you missed Rhino with Jerry today, go back and watch it at your leisure. Don't forget, each and every Tuesday, Jerry Reynolds with Ryan in Sacktown. And again, you can go back and watch that whenever you want. I'll be on again tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We'll be talking more NBA, and we'll look ahead to the Knicks and the Pacers. So that will be coming on tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Be doing a show for the rest of the week and get you into the month of June. Wow. Hard to believe it's going to be June next week. We're almost at the halfway point of the year. What the hell's going on? Where's the time gone, huh? Oh, wow. You know, before you know it, we'll be talking about NFL training camps opening, correct? Man, I don't know about you, but I go through withdrawals when the NFL season ends. Give me some freaking football. Give me some freaking football. There was talk about trading DeMar DeRozan. What do you think about getting a young player from Utah and their 21st pick this year? Connor, make believe you're Danny Ainge for a minute. Okay, you're Danny Ainge. Why would you take DeMar DeRozan for a young player and your 21st pick when you're trying to rebuild your franchise? Like, why would you do that, Connor? Think before you ask a question, please. Yes, Connor, you're right. It would be nice. But, like, Danny Ainge is not stupid. Edmonton won 4-1. It was a close game. It was 2-1. Dallas pulled their goalie, and then Edmonton had 2 empty net goals. So it was a very close game throughout. Yeah, I miss college football too, but I tell you, college sports is starting to turn me off with the transfer portal and the nil. It's not like it used to be, especially basketball. I barely will watch college basketball now. I watch college football, but as far as college basketball goes, they better make some changes. They better make some changes. I mean, they really need to make some changes because college basketball to me is going to be in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. DeRozan is a top 5 worst contract right now. I'm not even concerned about his contract. I mean, he's not going to the guy's 36. I mean, you think you're going to get a young player for him? Come on now. Any free agent point guards you like that the Kings should look at this offseason? Well, I got to see who's going to be available, which I don't know yet completely. And then when July 1st comes around, we'll see who they go after. But they definitely need to add. They definitely need to add in that department. I mean, we know that. They got to get a guy to run the team. I mean, as good as Keon Ellis is, I want him coming off the bench. And if you're going to start him, then you're going to start him in the backcourt with a new point guard. You know, does that mean Malik Monk is not going to start? You're going to have Monk come off the bench? What role do you see for Devin Carter? You know, these are all things that got to be figured out here in the offseason. Miami needs a closer. Well, then make a deal with Miami. Again, let's just wait and see what happens. But I think we all know that that's an area that they've got to fix. You know? James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Fred VanVleet, Tyus Jones, D'Angelo Russell, and Chris Paul. Well, I wouldn't take Harden. Dallas is not going to lose Irving. I like VanVleet. I like Tyus Jones. No on Russell. No on Paul. Don't see it. We're stuck with Zach LaVine. It's going to suck. I don't see anyone taking him. That's for sure. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. All right. Yeah, I'd take VanVleet, but I mean, why would Houston want to part ways with VanVleet? Again, what's Houston going to do? Right? They're already a good team. They're knocking on the door. They got a young team. They're very well coached by Ime Udoka. We'll see. John McEnroe made some great stuff in Roland Garros, new TV coverage, everything new. They even talk about the NBA. How great would be Grant to join? Josh Giddey, will the Bulls re-sign him? If not, the Kings, will they try to go get him? Yeah, I would think a lot of teams would go after Giddey, but why would the Bulls not re-sign him? Why would the Bulls not re-sign him? Answer me that. All right, tomorrow, 8 o'clock, right here on If You Don't Like That. Appreciate you joining me. Stay safe, would you please? Make it a good night. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye now.